Drifted to left field, and just like that, Francoeur ties the game. That was in the 6th inning last night. The same inning, the Royals bullpen grabbed the Orioles by the throat, pitching 4 1/3 scoreless innings and setting up Jeff Francoeur's second big swing, a game winner in the 10th inning. The Royals go for their 6th straight home win next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Altogether, the Royals are 3 games above 500, but at Kauffman Stadium, the Royals are 8 games above 500 after winning Game 1 with the Baltimore Orioles last night. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Team chemistry and its importance is debated all the time, but there's no debating that the Royals have had a surprisingly good start. There's no debating that this team apparently likes one another. So, Frank, is there a link between the two?
Well, there is a link, Ryan, but normally I'm a guy that don't believe in chemistry, just good old-fashioned hard baseball. But when you look at how they responded from that 6-game loss and the fact that they do talk about how much they like and pull for each other, you have to say for this team, chemistry is very important.
And it takes more than one guy to create team chemistry, but if there is a team chemist, it's Jeff Francoeur.
Well, Jeff Francoeur has done so much for this ball club so far. He's brought leadership. And the one thing about defense, he hasn't really surprised us on defense because he's done a great job out there. But offensively, it's where I talked to Jeff. That's where he is so surprised because he's been able to make that adjustment, and he's delivered some big hits for the club so far.
Not just leading the team in the clubhouse, he leads them on the field in home runs, RBI, slugging percentage, and he's also among the league leaders in those departments. Kyle Davies will start tonight for the Royals. The Royals have played great defense at home all season long, including this play from Mike Aviles last night. More from Kauffman Stadium right after this. Baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. The Baltimore Orioles have some power in their lineup, and home runs were a problem for Kyle Davies in his last start.
Well, they were calling Ryan because he left a lot of pitches out over the plate. Tonight against the big hitters of the Orioles, if he can use his breaking ball over for first pitch and let his defense help him play, then I think he should be okay.
The lineup he'll face is presented by Southwest Airlines. Brian Roberts is back in there leading off tonight. He missed last night with a root canal. And Luke Scott will bat fourth. He had a 3-run home run for the Orioles last night. The Orioles, by the way, are fourth in the league in home runs. Last year they finished 10th. If not for the Royals' defense last night, it would have been a completely different game for the Orioles.
Well, you're right. This is how the Royals played last night. This is what kept them in the game and gave them an opportunity to win late. The Royals players are coming out playing great defense. They're making the plays, making the throws, and Kyle Davis should be excited about getting out on the field tonight.
And here's how they're lined up tonight. Same outfield as last night's game, but on the infield, Wilson Betemit will be at third, Mike Aviles at second, Keila Kaihue will be at first base, and Matt Trainer is behind the plate. Wilson Betemit, all of a sudden, is fifth in the league in hitting. 2 hits last night, both doubles. He's 2 for 2 with a walk against Orioles starter Jake Arrieta. It's the Royals and the Orioles, and the first pitch is next. And you and they are watching Royals baseball in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no-fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. Let's go out to right field and welcome in Joe Goldberg.
Well, guys, we saw that walk-off celebration. Jeff Francoeur got a bloody nose last night, so I thought I'd put my detective's hat on and figure out who was to blame for this. Frenchie blames Mike Aviles, but other people said, look at Luke Hochevar, they're good friends. Matt Trainer said, I have an alibi. I was out in the bullpen. Brian Pena said, wasn't me, I was the peacemaker. Billy Butler said, wasn't me, I was trapped in the dog pile. Check with Mitch. Mitch Meyer said, it wasn't me, I jumped on his back. Check with Gordon. Gordon said it wasn't me. I hit him in the back. So I went in with my associate, Billy Butler, to the video room. We took a look at it. It was Mike Aviles. I told Mike, and he said, I hit him on the top of the head, and I hit him in the back. It wasn't me. But if I did do it, well, then he deserved it. Guys, I think it's safe we can charge Mike Aviles guilty in the case of the walk-off bloody nose. Guys?
Wasn't that almost a television special, If I Did Do It?
the way that pile looked, you hate to do good.
And by the way, I think Frenchie agrees with me, 'cause in the middle of that report he was waving.
2 strikes on Brian Roberts, who missed last night's game because of a root canal. He leads the Orioles in RBIs. He is their leadoff hitter, coming back from an injury-filled 2010 season. And on an 0-2 pitch, he strokes it into right center field, and that will be extra bases. So right away, the Orioles have a runner at second base with nobody out.
Well, Brian Roberts really makes this team go when he's healthy. He's a real good player, Ryan. And this is a pitch that Kyle probably wanted to get down underneath the swing, but this ball stayed right out over the plate, and Brian Roberts was able to take advantage. Just too good a pitch on an 0-2 pitch.
So he has his 7th double, and now to a struggling hitter, Nick Markakis, 0 for 5 last night. He is batting .207, and he's 12 for his last 70. Now the Royals keeping a close eye on Roberts, who has good speed. He has stolen 3 bases so far. Only played in 59 games last year because of an abdominal strain, problem with his back. He was even hospitalized for a while because of a bout with pneumonia. And now this year the root canal, but that only cost him 1 game. So Kyle Davies giving up a double on an 0-2 pitch, getting a lot of the plate, and he got a lot of the plate on Thursday at Cleveland, going 3 1/3 innings, giving up 8 runs, 4 home runs. And Kyle has made it very clear that he does not want to be a pitcher that is going to lose because of a lack of control. He is going to throw strikes. Here are the lines from his last 3 starts, and look at the far right hand side. Only 3 walks combined in his last 3 starts, but may have thrown too many strikes against the Cleveland Indians. And now this pitch got a lot of the plate. Gordon is back with Melky Cabrera, and Alex makes the play as Roberts moves up to third base. A very pleasant 70 degrees at Kauffman Stadium. The game started at 7:10, and the time and temp is brought to you by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI. So runner at third with 1 out, and now Derek Lee, who had 2 hits, also struck out twice, and he's after the first pitch and fouls it away.
Well, Ryan, you know, the idea of throwing first pitch strikes is really crucial to any pitcher, and you have to be able to throw the fastball, but throw it where you want to throw it. As long as you don't have it down the middle of the plate, because these hitters, this is a veteran hitting ball club, so if you're going to throw first pitch fastball just to avoid a walk, then you will get hit pretty hard. So you got to be able to get all your stuff over and then be able to spot your fastball. So I think the lack of walks is good, but I think the quality of the pitch is even more important.
You and I discussed this during that game in Cleveland, and call me crazy, but there was something about Kyle's aggressiveness that was appealing, even though he was giving up a lot of hits, a lot of extra base hits, and 4 home runs. And ever since he came to the Royals in 07, the focus for him is more strikes, fewer walks, and now he seems to have the mindset, if I'm going to lose, it's because they're going to have to beat me with the bats. I'm not going to walk myself into a loss.
Well, I mean, I agree with that too, but you got to be able to recognize when you need to make a change.
Roberts is coming to the plate. Melky's throw is a good one. It just arrives a little late. And the Orioles turn Roberts' leadoff double into a 1-0 lead.
Again, you got a fastball right down the middle of the plate here, and Derek Lee really jumped all over it. But just getting back to what we say, we watch Cabrera makes his long throw in the home plate, just a tad bit late. But, it's okay to want to go out and pitch aggressively, but you also have to be able to figure out, okay, what pitch can I get the most strikes with? And if I can command my fastball and I can command it in and out and keep it out in the middle of the plate, getting ahead is fine. But when you get a guy to 2 strikes, then what are you going to close him out with? So if you're going to throw a strike just to throw a strike in that situation, then you don't want to do that either.
And you have to be careful with your strikes against Luke Scott. That pitch at 95 miles an hour, but inside. A 3-run home run for Luke Scott last night, coming in the 4th inning after Jeff Francis had 3 scoreless innings and a 3-0 lead. Luke Scott's home run tied the game.
Yeah, I just think the most important pitch you can throw to a hitter is first pitch strike. Once you get ahead, now you're in control at that point. And if you're behind, then they're going to be a little more selective and force you to throw better pitches.
Below the knees, 3 balls, 1 strike.
Take the situation here, for instance. Luke Scott likes the ball down, middle in. So if you can throw a fastball on the outer half, you probably get away with it on a 3-1 pitch. But if you throw it down, middle in, now he's got a chance to hurt you.
And that was too low, down and in, and a walk. That is just the 4th walk for Kyle Davies in his last 21 innings. So a runner at first, and now Adam Jones, and he moves up in the batting order. He hit 6 last night and had 3 hits. Also reached for the walk, had a stolen base, and drove in a run. Curveball drops in for strike 1.
Really, when you look at what his approach is not bad at all, the aggressive approach. And you look at the number of earned runs he's given up, other than the Cleveland game, it really hasn't been bad. So I think it's just a matter of just mislocation more than anything else in that ball game.
A broken bat and a soft liner goes out into center field. So a good pitch, but Jones able to reach out, and he singles with 2 away.
So this ball, right, just more or less a little bit toward the outside, and that's why he was able to break his bat on the end of the bat, but just stayed over the ball well enough that he just stayed right back through the middle. A lot of times a right-handed hitter will roll over on that type of pitch and hit a ground ball to shortstop.
Matt Trainer out to have a chat with Kyle Davies, and sometimes it confuses fans when a pitcher says, "I thought I made a good pitch," and the final result is a hit. I mean, how could it be a good pitch if it was a hit? But there's a good example right there. I mean, you are down and away right where he wanted to get it. You broke the hitter's bat. He just happened to get a base hit.
He's just strong enough to get the ball out over the infield. I think the one that confuses me is the one where the ball goes out of the ballpark. And they say, "Well, I thought that was a good pitch." And the old timers,
so did the hitter.
And the old timers would say, "Good pitches don't leave the ballpark."
Matt Wieters 1 for 3 with an RBI last night. Over the outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Prior to giving up the 4 home runs on Thursday, Kyle Davies had only allowed 1 home run in his first 5 starts. Tried to get him to chase a changeup, and the count is 2-1. And Wieters batting with Luke Scott at second base, Adam Jones at first. And as far as batting average goes, Matt Wieters is the best in the American League with runners in scoring position. And now 3 balls and 1 strike. And it's not even close. He's hitting .750 with runners in scoring position. The next closest is Michael Young, and that's a big number, .567. into left field. Should be easy for Alex Gordon. And it is. Orioles take a 1-0 lead. Career double against Kyle Davies to open the game. The Orioles turn that into a run, and now here come the Royals in the bottom of the first against Jake Arrieta. It'll be Mike Aviles leading off at second base tonight, not Chris Getz. Wilson Betemit will be at third. Keila Kaihue returns to the starting lineup. He's at first base, and Matt Trainer returns with Kyle Davies on the mound. Royals tonight will be facing Jake Arrieta.
Well, Jake Arrieta has good stuff, Ryan. His curveball is a real good pitch for him, along with his changeup. Fastball can range from 91 to 95, but don't let his ERA fool you. He's a pretty good pitcher. He was battling some hip soreness, but for last report, that's not an issue at this time.
Ball one to Mike Aviles. 1 for 4 with a double and an RBI last night. That came in the Royals' 3-run second inning. It was his 22nd RBI of the year, second only to Jeff Francoeur. And now the Royals have a broken bat base hit into center. And they have the leadoff man on. Here are the Orioles defensively, and in left field tonight it's Felix Pie. So Luke Scott is the designated hitter. And changes on the infield. Brian Roberts returns to second base. And a battery of Matt Wieters and Jake Arrieta. Royals only attempted 1 stolen base last night against Matt Wieters. And Wieters threw the runner out. That was Alcides Escobar in the second inning. And Wieters has thrown out 7 of 13 runners this year. So let's see if that slows down the Royals running game tonight.
Well, that's been a big improvement for Matt Wieters. I mean, he's been at like 1/8 to second base, and if you get below 2, that's pretty good. So they've been really impressed with his catch and release time so far this year.
Aviles is running, and it's a broken bat two-hopper to Reynolds, who knocks it down and doesn't get Cabrera. Now Aviles to third, and he is going to be out. And as the baseball rule goes, you never want to make the first or third out at third base.
Well, you're right. You really want to make sure you can get to third base on a play like that. The Reynolds goes down, blocks it, and he wasn't able to get Cabrera at first base, but Mike Aviles saw Reynolds up a little bit in the infield, and so he continues on to third base. But Reynolds was able to dive back in. Like I say, infielders, you got to get dirty with the guy sliding in, so he wasn't afraid to dive in there and make that play.
Which goes to show that Mark Reynolds watches the Royals on Fox Sports Kansas City. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made that play.
You just got to get down in the dirt with him sometimes.
It is an error 5. Speaking of Reynolds, that allows Melky Cabrera to reach. And then Mike Aviles is out 3-5. Two strikes now on Alex Gordon. Alex was hitless last night, but it was his walk leading off the bottom of the 10th inning that led to the game-winning run. Billy Butler singled following Alex's walk. Alex went first to third, and Jeff Francoeur got him home for the win. Five hits on the homestand, 38 this season. That's the third most in the American League. And Mike Aviles taking off one batter ago has caught Arrieta's attention, and now he is keeping a close eye on Melky Cabrera. He has stolen 2 bases this year.
Well, if they steal, it's going to definitely be off Arrieta, the pitcher. With Wieters under 2 in his release time, it won't be off of him. So they give him a chance, then it's going to be hard for the Royals to steal a base.
And that last pitch, I think, is the effect of being concerned of Melky Cabrera. Tried to rush his delivery, and he almost threw it up into the booth.
Well, he looks like a guy that if he rushes, the ball will be high. Even on his throws to first base, he's trying to be quick with his feet, but his throws to first base have been high also.
Melky started, then stopped, and the count is even at 2-2.
You know, with Matt Wieters, the way he catches and throws, I don't think the pitcher really has to be concerned about being too quick, but just be quick enough to give him an opportunity to throw the runner out. But you also have to be in that zone where you can throw a quality pitch.
Melky runs. He got a good jump. Wieters throws from his knees and had no chance. Alex strikes out. And Melky has his third stolen base. Wieters might be discussing possible interference with home plate umpire Mike DeMuro.
Well, Cabrera had a good jump. Arrieta was really slow to the plate, and this pitch there made it more difficult too because the ball went down and in. He had to reach across his body, and that took away from his effectiveness too to throw on this play.
It's like maybe Alex in his follow through hit Wieters on the glove. Ball 1 to Billy Butler. Billy 1 for 4 with a walk and a run scored last night. His walk led off the second inning, which led to 3 runs, and his single came on an 0-2 pitch in the 10th, setting up the game-winning sacrifice fly.
You know, Jake Arrieta is not really any different than any other pitcher, Ryan. When he elevates the ball, that's when that has trouble, but that can apply to any pitcher who goes out there and pitches up in the zone. So if he's in trouble, it's going to be because he's up.
1-2. Based on his numbers this year, the Royals wouldn't expect to load up on hits tonight. He gives up fewer hits than innings pitched. Got him with a slider away. So at the end of 1, Baltimore leads 1-0.
I have a question for the announcers. I had noticed that we had a lot of walk-off wins this year, and the celebration looks like great fun. They do a lot of jumping and bouncing off of each other, but I was just wondering if you thought that was dangerous in any way.
Well, Frank, what do you think?
Well, I think it can be. I mean, when guys are jumping on your back and pounding you on the back of the head, it can be. I know Jeff Francoeur last night had a bloody nose when it was all over, but they discussed it on the pregame show tonight, and he said that trainers did ask him if they could tone it down a little bit, but his comment was, it is what it is.
He has as much fun as anybody in those walk-off celebrations. One pitch, one out for Kyle Davies in the second inning, getting Felix Pie. When did this start? I mean, when did guys start beating up on each other?
I mean, even in the pile, you have other guys beating up other guys who had nothing to do with the hit. They take it as almost like they said, well, I think I'll go after you in this one. But I mean, they're just not punching the guys that did good. They're punching each other. But it's like that thing, until something happens,
right?
It's okay.
Two strikes on Mark Reynolds, and of course the extreme example is Kendrys Morales last year when he broke his ankle, but that had more to do with him jumping onto home plate as opposed to running across home plate, and landed on a teammate, and he was done for the year. And after that, the Angels were pretty much done for the year. Other than that, I mean, there seems to be some sort of celebration like that, if not every day, every other day, and that's just the most extreme example. But I just want to know, where did that start?
I have no idea. I know that it's no fun being on the bottom. I've been on the bottom of some piles before, and you got all those bodies jumping, coming down on you. It's a lot of weight.
So they did that when you were playing?
No, this is a team fight.
Oh. Shallow center field, and Melky has to pull up and play it on a bounce. So Mark Reynolds, batting at 168, was dying for that hit, and the Orioles have one on with one out.
That's the breaking ball here. This is a good pitch here too, Ryan. It goes down, but Mark Reynolds is able to extend his bat down to this pitch below the strike zone and still just force it out into center field. And the good thing about these pitches that he hit this pitch that he hit right here is that the fact that most times they'll roll over on that and hit a ground ball, but we've seen twice, once with Jones and now with Reynolds, they got base hits out of him.
Reynolds goes on a hit and run, and it's a foul ball. Robert Andino at the plate. He led off last night with Brian Roberts out of the lineup. Was 0 for 4 with a walk. He committed an error in the bottom of the ninth inning that set up a first and third with one out, but the Orioles got out of that inning. They were not able to get out of a first and third, nobody out in the 10th. And that nailed him.
Well, this is a fastball, a two-seamer that just really got away from Kyle right here, and Robert Andino had no chance to get out of the way of this ball. Just hit him in the top of his letters on his name and his back. So that ball just started running and didn't stop. You know, one time you throw a two-seamer inside, it's going to run like that. Usually when you want to go inside, you go with that four-seamer. It stays straight, and you can get it on the inside corner, and you can get it just off the plate. But that's so much run on it. Andino couldn't get out of the way.
Ball one to Brian Roberts. He opened the game with a double. He was down 0-2 and got a curveball out of the plate and double to right center field. He has Reynolds at second and Andino at first. A cut fastball for a strike, 1-1. Kyle faced the Orioles twice last year, was 1-0. He has faced them 5 times in his career, and he is 2-1, but a high ERA over 6. 6.28 to be exact. Into right field, and Reynolds took off for third. Francoeur's throw is going to be late. Not sure if Reynolds saw that off the bat, but it looked like he reacted to maybe his third base coach screaming at him to stop and go back to second base.
Well, this is one of those situations there where you made it, forgot how many outs it is, and all of a sudden you look up and your third base coach is saying, get back, get back. So you got to read the ball off the bat.
John Russell, formerly manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, before taking a job on Buck Showalter's staff. Before that, a minor league manager in the Twins organization. Nick Markakis flied out to left field in the first inning, making him 12 for his last 71 and hitting .205. No balls, 2 strikes. He's not hitting the ball right now, obviously, but he had a chance to do something defensively last night. One of the strongest arms in the American League, but came up a little short on his throw to the plate in the 10th inning on the fly ball from Jeff Francoeur. Gets on top of that pitch and strokes it to right field. Francoeur will cut it off, but Reynolds will score now. Andino coming to the plate, and the throw to the plate is in plenty of time. No need for a slide. The Orioles take a 2-0 lead. Assist. The Orioles have a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second.
Well, Jeff Francoeur came up and did the right thing, throw the ball at second base, but well, John Russell saw that he had a chance to throw this ball at second base. He thought he had a chance to score Andino, but what you'll normally do as a right fielder with runners on first and second is you throw the ball toward home. But when Francoeur threw this ball at second base, then he thought he could steal a run and catch Escobar sleeping at second base.
Francoeur with a game-tying home run in the 6th inning, and then the game-winning RBI in the 10th. 23 runs driven in. That's 5th in the American League.
So I have to kind of go back and rephrase that. With runners on first and second down the line, the throw comes toward home and not second base. And when Francoeur did throw to second, that's when John Russell decided to try to steal a run right there.
Francoeur, Wilson Betemit, and Kila Kaihue in the 2nd inning. In the first, Royals And a leadoff single from Mike Aviles. Melky Cabrera reached on an error, but Aviles was thrown out trying to go to third, and then Arrieta finished the inning striking out Alex Gordon and Billy Butler. Stroke to left field, hooking into the corner, fair ball, home run, Jeff Francoeur.
Ryan, Jeff Francoeur's bat on the inner half has really gotten quick, and you see this hanging curveball right here that stayed right on the inside, and he cleared everything and got those hands through, and there was no doubt about this, other than the fact that it wasn't going to stay foul or fair, but he really collapsed inside quickly on that ball.
I mean, that wasn't even a strike. That is in off the plate.
It's in off the plate. It's a breaking ball. You can see him clear his hips, and he got the bat head through. That's a nice home run that he put out in left field.
2 balls and no strikes to Wilson Betemit. Betemit has hit in 7 straight games. He is hitting .342. That's the 5th best average in the American League. 2-1.
Well, really a good guy to pull for, too. I mean, last year he wasn't playing very much, and so you didn't know if how his bat was going to come. And then we go to Minneapolis. He got a chance to play, hit home runs from both sides of the plate, and it's been the history after everything. They always say, so goes the story after that.
3 balls and 1 strike on Betemit.
I think what's really to be admired about Wilson Betemit, Melky Cabrera, and Jeff Francoeur is they all realized over the winter that, hey, maybe we just need to get in better shape. And they all came in great shape, and it's producing for the Royals right now.
I noticed that last year with Betemit in his first year at the Royals, that he was trimmed down quite a bit from his days with the Yankees and the White Sox. He was a much thicker player with those 2 teams. This is a guy who was once a shortstop.
I think Jeff Francoeur probably lost, what, over 25, 30 pounds. Melky Cabrera, he lost 20 pounds.
Betemit is out number 1. And we take a look at tonight's Sprint You Call It question. Last year was a comeback year for pitchers, the year of the pitcher, and there were 6 no-hitters / perfect games. We had our first last night, so how many do you think will be thrown this year? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space, then A, B, or C. And when you send in your text, you'll get a bounce back text message, which will give you instructions and rules on how you can win a suite here at Kauffman Stadium for you and 11 guests. That's the suite right above us. Say hi, Frank. One ball, 1 strike on Keila Kaihue. Had to play again. There were 2, almost 3 perfect games last year. Roy Halladay, Dallas Braden, and then the nobody's perfect game. Mike DeMuro, who was behind the plate tonight, he was behind the dish for Roy Halladay's perfect game. He pitched that against the Florida Marlins in Miami. Frank probably remembers his father Lou, who was a longtime American League umpire. There's some pressure on the umpire in games like that, not just the pitcher and the catcher.
There's probably some last night in Chicago.
We don't normally think there's pressure on the first base umpire in a game like that, but there was in Detroit between the Tigers and the Indians last year. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Keila. Still 3-2. Keela did not play last night. Wilson Bedemeet was at first base. Mike Aviles was at third. Chris Getz at second. Now tonight, Aviles at second, Bedemeet at third, and that opens up first base for Keela. Got him with a curveball down and in, and that's 3 strikeouts for Arrieta. 2 down in the second. Interleague play will be here at Kauffman Stadium during the next homestand, May 20th through the 22nd, and great tickets are still available for the Friday game, Saturday game, and Sunday game, but they will go fast. So call 1-800-6-ROYALS or visit Royals.com to secure your seats. So 2 away to Matt Trainer, who is just barely hovering above 100 with his batting average until the end of the road trip, and now he has a 4-game hitting streak, and that's gotten him up to 204. 2-0.
That says no fun living below the line. You get below 200 and you get in middle May, early June. You got to get real hot to come back.
3-0. Last night was the Royals' 5th walk-off win of the year. Matt Trainer had a walk-off home run against the Angels in the first homestand, first series. 3 balls, 1 strike.
There's that count here where Matt Trainer is better middle in, so you want to look for something middle in and try to drive it. Anything on the outer half you might want to take in this count.
3-2.
Got his pitch.
And a 2-out walk. Check out the early results in tonight's Sprint You Call It. How many no-hitters do you think will be thrown? 65% think 1 to 5. If the play had been called correctly, I believe, and we can get the big blue book of knowledge out if we need to, but I think there would have been not only 3 perfect games last year, but 3 perfect games within a month. Roy Halladay would have been the most likely of the 3 to throw a perfect game. Dallas Braden's was a surprise. Nothing against him, but that is just such a rare accomplishment. And then Armando Galarraga, it seemed like his season unraveled after the missed call at first base and losing his chance at a perfect game.
You can only imagine what kind of emotion goes through a pitcher when he gets to that point. And there was one play in Halliday's no-hitter in the playoffs where the ball was laying next to the bat and the catcher had it down on both knees and had to make the throw to first base. And so there's always a play or two in a game that really stands out to get you where you need to go. You look at last night's game. When the third baseman Danny Valencia made a nice play down the line. I mean, this wasn't an easy play for him to make at all. I mean, he's across the line in the grass and it throws a strike to first base.
Now 4-pitch walk to Arrieta, so he lets the number 8 and 9 hitters get away from him. Pitching coach Mark Connor is going to go out and visit with him, and now the top of the order coming up with 2 outs. Tonight is another carsoup.com email the booth night. Go to carsoup.com/Royals. Once you're there, CarSoup will ask you for your zip code. Once you fill in the zip code, you'll be sent to a different page where you can submit your question. So we look forward to hearing from you tonight. And now way outside to Mike Aviles. So he's missed with 6 in a row. Aviles singled to center field in the first inning. So he decides to go with a curveball, and you've talked about that before, Frank. If you can't get it done with one pitch, try something different.
Yeah, you got to search for what you're gonna get across the plate. You go 6 straight fastballs out of the zone. Yeah, and that's really a little too long. I would say 4 fastballs out of the zone. Look for something different.
Got to pitch up and fouled it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. By the way, I did my exhaustive research, and it would have been 3 perfect games in 1 month if the call was correct for Armando Galarraga in between May the 9th and June the 4th.
I know it's kind of hard to call the game and research at the same time, so that's what makes it exhaustive.
Exactly. Well, it helps when the pitcher's not throwing strikes. Nothing's going on. Just zip through Big Blue and voila.
That book's got some things in it, I'm telling you.
32 pitches in the inning for Arrieta. 2-2. The inning began with Jeff Francoeur homering into the left field corner. And then he got Betemit on a ground ball. Kaihue on a strikeout. And then a walk to Matt Trainer and a walk to Alcides Escobar. To left field, but Aviles was out in front. And we stay at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you can really say we talked about Arrieta. When he gets up in the zone, that's when he has a chance to get hurt. So right now he's really having a hard time getting the ball down, and that really plays into Mike Aviles' hands.
Got him with a slider away, and that's been a key pitch for him tonight. He throws 35 pitches. The Royals get 1 run on Jeff Francoeur's 8th home run of the year. To you by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. By Chevy, see your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Two-1 Orioles. Top of the 3rd, Jeff Francoeur leading off the bottom of the 2nd with his 8th home run of the year. Orioles with 1 in the 1st, And Derek Lee drove that run in with a sacrifice fly. And in the second, Nick Markakis drove in a run with a single. No balls, 2 strikes. As we mentioned, tonight is a carsoup.com email the booth night. And Joel is standing by with a question or two.
Standing by, taking your calls right now. Now, you know,
if you send one in now,
but
we'll
first,
double your order.
But first, we have. Anyway, you know, I get a lot of emails on a regular basis about Rule 5 and 40-man rosters. I know you guys have answered that a few times. Let's just say that when Dean Taylor, the assistant GM, who is an expert on all this, is on the next road trip, I will have him on the pregame show because he could tell it a lot better than us, and there's a lot more details. It's not a 30-second answer. This one is kind of funny from the other night. I just passed it on. Brendan Cox from Blue Springs. Frank, what pitcher did you always want to send a line drive back to at his head? You've already answered the version of that. I don't know that you wanted to hit Nolan Ryan in the head, but that question comes up a lot as well. So how about we tackle this one? Marissa Barton from Omaha. Which players do you guys think would be first ballot Hall of Famers if they retired tomorrow? I've got a list. How about you guys? What do you think?
Derek Jeter.
Agreed.
Derek Lee is out number 1 in the 3rd inning. Mariano Rivera.
Yes.
Just kind of going team by team here.
I mean, does A-Rod, you know, he had some issues.
I don't know. I mean,
but he admitted to it.
Yeah. That helps. I think that will help.
When you admit, they forget. When you don't, they don't. Right? How about out west? Certain player that gets 200 hits every year.
Ichiro?
Yes or no? Too early?
I think based on the numbers. I mean, that's
the numbers are getting him in because he'll. Yeah, I would say yeah for him.
There might be some who hold it against him for a year or two that felt like that's what he was all about, just his 200 hits, and could have done more to make the Mariners a better team.
I mean, Albert Pujols isn't going to announce his retirement tomorrow. If he did, maybe there's not enough, but whenever he does announce his retirement, he'll get there.
I'd agree with that.
I got a catcher on the list.
Ivan Rodriguez?
I would think so,
yeah,
right?
That's probably a first ballot guy. Chipper Jones? Chipper Jones a first ballot guy?
Yeah.
His switch hitting numbers are, I think, right up there with
the
pretty best.
Good. Yeah, Jim Thome might be a guy that will get a lot of consideration.
Then that's the question on those two guys, because I was looking at both of them. Are they first ballot, or, I mean, I think we can all say that both of them would get in at some point.
Joel, you know what I think about that first ballot, second ballot thing? I think it's a bunch of crock.
Okay, Marissa. Hold on, Marissa.
Are
Frank
we on
White,
delay or?
Yeah, Frank White has just said that is a bunch of beep.
There was no beep on that.
Crock.
I just think that you're a Hall of Famer or you're not. I don't believe in first ballot or second ballot Hall of Famers. Either you're a Hall of Famer your first time out, or you're not a Hall of Famer.
I'm just reading the woman's question.
You asked for an answer. I gave it to you.
Atta baby.
Down and under. With Cal Davis, you know, he admitted in his last outing, Ryan, that he just literally just got his butt kicked by the Indians. But he wanted to come out and he wants to throw more swing and misses. But the way to get more swing and misses, I think you have to pitch both sides of the plate. You have to pitch inside, and then you can get some guys that swinging some balls down away off the plate.
I have one more thought on Jim Thome, if we have time.
First ballot?
Yeah, and here's why I think. Here's why I think so, Joel, because of the steroid era. I think the guys that stayed clean, and he should get to 600 home runs, which is Hall of Fame worthy. But I think his reputation, even though it's good already, is a good guy, a good player. He has the numbers that would certify him as a Hall of Famer. But now that the guys who put up those numbers and they were clean, I think that takes them to another level. And I think in that case, Jim Thome will be looked at more than just a 600 home run guy.
Well, I agree with you on that one too, Ryan. You know, you're talking about first ballot or second ballot. Now we got Bert Blyleven going in this year. So what ballot is he?
Well, he was what? This was, I think, year 13, and after 15.
Well, I will state again, the question asked first ballot, so it makes for a tougher question to answer. And as far as Jim Thome goes, the other thing that probably helps, because there's a stigma, should DHs get it or not? Obviously, he's one of the great DHs and hitters of all time. Is he? Not only was he one of the great guys of his generation to play the game as far as people. I mean, we talk about Jeff Francoeur. Jim Thome is loved everywhere. He's done it in both leagues. So years in Philadelphia, you know, he grew up in the Midwest. He's got a lot of, just a lot of great qualities, obviously. But he's done it in both leagues. So he's done it in front of the writers in every city.
Good point. I think what happened with Bert is that because pitchers don't pitch shutouts and complete games like they used to, the numbers that he put up in his career just became more and more impressive. All the shutouts, all the complete games, all the wins. I think at first glance he was a very good pitcher for a long time, but he was probably never the best for a certain period of time. But after a while you look back with the quality start mindset now, and you look back and you go, that was a pretty good career.
Oh, a great career. That's why I don't believe in first ballot, second ballot. Either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not.
Kyle Davies has a 1-2-3 third inning. Frank, are you a first ballot, second ballot type guy?
I'm a Royals Hall of Famer.
Edwards, an accomplished runner and triathlete, one of the pioneers who brought the world of running and road racing to Kansas City 30 years ago, and continues to volunteer her time and expertise for almost every race in town. Mary was honored by the Women's Intersport Network Win for KC by receiving the UMB Senior Sportswoman Award, and tonight she sits in the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. Melky Cabrera, Alex Gordon, Billy Butler in the third inning. Shallow left field, and Felix Pie comes up and makes the catch. We remind you to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. Alex Gordon played a role in last night's great moment, scoring the winning run in the bottom of the 10th inning. One ball, no strikes. Alex struck out in the first. Jake Arrieta has struck out 4. The only run he's allowed is Jeff Francoeur's 8th home run. That was leading off the second inning. 2-0. Three balls, no strikes. Arrieta is a Missouri native. He was born in Farmington, which is about 70 miles south of St. Louis, but he went to high school in Texas and then played his college ball at TCU. Alex pulls the trigger on 3-0, and that's into shallow right field, and out goes Brian Roberts for the out. So 2 away, and now Billy Butler, who is also a strikeout victim, his first time.
And they got ability to chase that slider with 2 strikes, and that's a late breaking slider. Doesn't use it a lot. You think he'd use it a little bit more, but he's more or less saved it for a strikeout pitch.
Slider down and away for ball 1. Two balls, no strikes. While at TCU, Arrieta was the Mountain West Conference Pitcher of the Year his sophomore year in 06. And then the Orioles took him in the 5th round in 2007. In 2008, he was part of the United States Olympic baseball team that competed in China. Got to the big leagues last year for the first time. Royals saw him once at the end of July. That was here at Kauffman Stadium. He pitched to a no decision. He walked 5 in 4 1/3 innings, and those 5 walks are still his career high. In on the hands, and Billy fights it foul off the left field line.
Yeah, he really ran this ball in on Billy. It started out over the plate and had late movement, and I'm surprised Billy didn't break his bat on this. But look how much this ball runs, and see how Billy's able to bring his hands in. And I mean, it's so far in off the plate, and just to get that much bat on it is amazing in itself.
That fastball down the middle, but Billy chops it to short, and Dino throws him out, and that's that for the Royals in the 3rd. At tonight's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison, Jake Arrieta has topped out at 95, Kyle Davies at 96 through the first 3 innings. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo. Strike over the inside to Matt Wieters, out on a fly ball to left field in the first inning. That was the final out of the first. Kyle, I think he dropped down a little bit. 1 ball, 1 strike to the Orioles' first round pick in 2007. He was the 5th overall pick that year. 1-2. Struck him out. Took something off that pitch, and that's number 2 for Kyle Davies. Final game of this series is tomorrow. Then on Friday, the Oakland A's are in town for a 3-game series. And on Saturday, the Royals will salute the Kansas City A's. The first 20,000 fans will receive this retro KC cap presented by Sprint. There will be appearances by Kansas City A's alumni, including Tommy Lasorda, and a select group of that alumni will be signing autographs. Down and away, ball 1 to Felix Pie. Flied out to center field in the 2nd inning. Keela right at the bag. The ball led him to the bag. 2 down.
Well, they couldn't ask for a better hop. I mean, just one big hop to first base, and like you say, Ryan, took him right over the base. One big Sunday hop right there, right on top of the base.
A Sunday hop.
Yeah. One of those nice big hops you don't have to worry about. Just come right to you. Boom, right there. You ever heard that before, haven't you?
I've heard it before. I don't think I've ever. It's kind of like a Texas leaguer. You know what it means, but you don't really know where that started. Why is it a Sunday hop and not a Saturday hop or a Tuesday hop?
It's just the way it was when I came in the game.
I mean, Sunday is traditionally a church day, so does that mean like kind of a
sort of easy
divine hop?
I think it's more on the easy side.
Okay.
You know, do your Commodore routine easy like Sunday
Easy
morning.
like a Sunday morning. Is that what it is?
Just a big old Sunday hop. Not a difficult play.
It's a Lionel Richie hop.
Okay, we'll let it go with that one.
3-1 on Mark Reynolds. He singled with 1 out in the 2nd inning and then scored on Nick Markakis' single. That gave the Orioles a 2-0 lead. Royals got their run in the 2nd on Frank Coors' home run. And now Reynolds walks. And for Kyle Davies, that is his 2nd tonight. You have to go back 5 starts for the last time Kyle Davies walked more than 1 in a start. Prior to tonight, 3 walks in his last 4. Orioles try to hit and run. Last time Reynolds was at first and Robert Andino was at the plate. Andino fouled away a hit and run attempt, and then Kyle Davies nailed him with a 1-1 pitch. Up and in.
Yeah, sometimes when Kyle lets that arm drop a little too far, especially when he's throwing a two-seamer, that ball will run inside. And Kyle's been known to let his fastball get away from him at times up and in.
Orioles had a stolen base last night, but it was only their 10th. They are not a running team. They are 2nd from the bottom in the American League in stolen bases. Reynolds does not have a threatening lead, but he takes off, and Andino pops it up. Keela to his own dugout and makes a catch and then goes right into the dugout. Orioles are scoreless in the 4th. The last 3 runs for the Royals. Last night it was a sac fly in the 10th inning, and the Royals had their 5th walk-off win of the year. Here's tonight's Toyota League leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers, and the Royals lead the major leagues with 5 walk-off wins in just a little over a month. They had 6 all of last year. Francoeur tied the game with a home run in the 6th last night, the sac fly in the 10th, and now a home run in the 2nd inning tonight. It's a roller to Andino, and there is one away in the 4th. Saturday, NASCAR on Fox moves to Darlington and goes under the lights, where Denny Hamlin will try to defend his title and take home his first checkered flag of the year. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing begins at Saturday with the pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 6 p.m. in high definition on Fox. Your thoughts?
I've got thoughts. I've got our 2 area guys, Carl Edwards, number 1, Sprint Cup standings, Clint Boyer, number 7.
Was it last year or the year before that Clint Boyer came out to a Royals game? Threw out the first pitch.
I'm not
Came
sure.
up here in the booth, didn't he?
Was that last year?
I think it might have been. I think it was 2 years ago. How could you forget, Frank? Being the gearhead that you are.
not a NASCAR gearhead, but go back to all the muscle cars in the late 60s. Yeah.
That was you?
Uh-huh. I just follow those 2 guys.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Bettamy. Grounded out to short in the 2nd inning. He has hit in 7 games in a row. Still 2-2. Arrieta coming off a win. He beat the White Sox on Friday. Frank told you that he was bothered by some hip soreness. That's bothered him the last 2 weeks. And because of that, only able to go 5 on Friday at Chicago. He has retired the last 6, and he has 5 strikeouts tonight. Giving the Royals a lot of trouble with that slider.
Well, that seems to be the pitch. That one stayed up, but he got in. Really just crowded him on the inside, and Wilson couldn't get the bat head to it. But he's really kind of like all over the place in terms of when you look at Fox tracks. But then he gets you 2 strikes, and the slider's been the pitch.
Ball 1 to Keila Kaihue. He struck out in the 2nd inning. Arrieta kind of goes against the rule that righties are tougher on righties and lefties are tougher on lefties. Lefties only hit .206 against him, and looking at what the Royals left-hand batters have done tonight, they are a combined 0 for 7. And now Wieters sets up outside. That caught the middle of the plate and was up. 2-1.
Well, when you're 2-0 and you get a pitch down the middle, you take it down the middle. That means you're really not sure what you want to look for. But that was an excellent pitch for Keila to really go after.
A little high, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Now we take a look at this pitch. According to Fox Tracks, is really at the top part of the strike zone. So that's a hittable pitch, but that's one you don't want to hit 3-1.
He goes after that one, 3-1, deep to the opposite field, but it doesn't carry enough, and PA runs it down in front of the track. So we go to the 5th, still 2-1. 13-5 here at Kauffman Stadium. That's the second best home record in the major leagues. It might be early, but they're starting to create a new home field advantage.
Well, I tell you, we haven't had one here in a long time, and I think they believe that if they can stay close in ball games, they've got a chance to win the ball game. And Kyle Davies, to this point, that kept them in the ball game.
He has kept the Orioles in the ballpark. Ball 1-2, Brian Roberts.
Well, he's really working hard to keep the ball down, and I think that's to his credit. He's definitely making some aggressive adjustments, and he has some idea what he wants to do when he gets to 2 strikes. This hard breaking ball has been a good pitch for him tonight, too.
Orioles have 3 hits, 1 extra base hit, and that was Roberts leading off the game with a double, and then he scored on a sac fly. Behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kyle, on Thursday at Cleveland, he gave up 9 hits, and 7 of the 9 were extra base hits. Only had 1 ground ball out in 3 1/3 innings. Two and 2. Tonight he has 3 ground ball outs. He is not a ground ball pitcher, but just to emphasize how many balls were up in that start at Cleveland. Good pitch over the inside. No argument from Roberts. He just heads for the dugout. And for Kyle, that is his 3rd strikeout.
That's that pitch. It starts on the inner half, and the hitter gives up on it, and the ball comes back and catches the inside corner. We've seen that pitch a lot. Doesn't get backed up a lot in there, but it's usually used as a 2-strike pitch to try to get a strikeout.
And now a strike to Nick Markakis, 1 for 2 in the 2nd inning. He was down 0-2 and singled to right, drove in a run. Second runner tried to score, and the Royals threw Robert Andino out at the plate. Markakis had been 12 for his last 71 before that base hit. And now he becomes a little more dangerous. A struggling hitter, breathing a sigh of relief, not only getting a hit, but driving in a run.
Kyle threw him a nice cutter there at 90 miles an hour, and he swung over it. So Kyle's doing a good job mixing it up.
On the ground to Aviles. So there's a ground ball out, 2 down. You know, it's still hard to believe that Kyle Davies is 27 years old. He's been around for a while, and when you look at his career, you wonder if he has ever just felt like one of the guys. When he was 14 years old, Baseball America called him the best 14-year-old in the country, and they named him the next year the best 15-year-old in the country. The words cool and cruel sound alike. They have different meanings, but that's 2 different ways to describe what Baseball America did to him. I mean, on one hand, cool, but on the other hand, the pressure to put on a young kid. He's from Atlanta. He gets drafted by the Braves. He gets to the big leagues at 20 years old. And I remember in 2008, Bob McClure was telling Kyle Davies, hey, it's okay to be 24 years old. In other words, you don't have to pitch like you're 34. Be 24. You're going to make some mistakes.
I mean, that totally makes sense to me. He's got good enough stuff that he can get away with a lot of things. And, you know, if in a year he could relax and work on his game, this would be the year to do it, because he does have that stuff to get it done with. And he misses down, which is probably where he wants to miss, but he's right at the bottom of the strike zone, and I think that's where he wants to be. So that's an adjustment he's making. So most of this game, especially on that hump out there, it's all about confidence. And so the more confidence you have in yourself, then the more it's going to show in your production on the mound.
That is his 3rd walk, and now he faces Luke Scott, who has walked and struck out. And I don't know if there's an easier guy to pull for than Kyle Davies. I mean, he is one of the friendliest, most consistent guys on the team as far as his personality and demeanor. Very accountable after his starts. I mean, he normally doesn't get dragged into the, well, I thought I made good pitches and I just lost. I mean, Kyle many times will say, hey, look, I just wasn't very good. That got a piece of Keela's glove and out into right field, and Derek Lee will go first to third. So with 2 outs and nobody on, a walk and a single.
I mean, he had no time to get this ball. This ball was really hit well. And Keela was coming off the base to get in his fielding position. You see Derek Lee go all the way to third base, and he just didn't have time to react back toward the bag. But I agree with you, Ryan. I think he's very accountable. I think that the sooner players learn how to really assess their performances, they do get better faster. You know, when you say, well, I'm making this adjustment, I'm trying to make this adjustment, you know, the adjustments are made in the bullpen. You know, you don't make, once you get on the mound, it's about going out there with what you got and just trying to get it done. And I think that is a good sign for anybody in this game, to just make your mistakes, admit your mistakes, and then just get better.
Bob McClure going to try and give him as much time to catch his breath. Mike DeMuro, the home plate umpire, out there to break it up and talk about how they're going to go after Adam Jones. Jones is singled and grounded out to third base.
And I don't think there's a big threat of a double steal here. You know, still second, still home with Derek Lee at third on third base.
Jumps ahead of Adam Jones, 0-1.
Well, it's one of those situations here where you just forget about the runner at first base. You concentrate on the hitter. It's 2 outs, and you just want to make good pitches here and then get out of this inning.
Good pitch. Jones was looking for something away, and that tied him up 0-2.
Yeah, pitching both sides of the plate with movement, and that's really helped him so far tonight.
Popped up. Keela into foul ground, and that's the inning. So the visit from Bob McClure helps get Davies through the 5th. In the first 2 innings, and now 3 straight scoreless innings. As we take a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question, Royals have 13 home wins so far this year. When did they win their 13th home game last year? Matt Trainer, Alcides Escobar, Mike Aviles against Jake Arrieta, who has given up 1 run. Jeff Francoeur's home run in the 2nd inning. After Francoeur homered in the 2nd inning, Arrieta got the next 2 hitters, but then he walked Trainer, he walked Escobar, the number 8, number 9 hitters, but then got out of it by striking out Aviles. And Dino throws out Matt Trainer, 1 away. Well, Royals fans, we have your Mother's Day gift covered. Join the Royals for a Mother's Day celebration Sunday at 1:10, and the first 10,000 ladies will receive this Royals tote bag presented by Hy-Vee. Frank has a tote bag just like that. In fact, brought it to the ballpark today. I just never pictured you with a tote bag with pink handles, but lo and behold, there you were.
I've got to get special permission to have anything pink on me.
That was a swing, and it's 0-2 on Escobar.
But I'm sure all the mothers who come to the game on Sunday will definitely enjoy that bag. Great color scheme.
Three-pitch strikeout. That is 6 for Arrieta. And again, it's that same pitch. Slider down and away to a righty and down and into a lefty.
It's a late breaking slider too. I mean, it ball's right on the corner, down on the outside corner, and it's just a tough pitch for a right-hander to handle, especially with 2 strikes.
His season high is 9, and he did that against the Yankees 2 starts ago. That was 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. He has struck out Aviles, and Mike has a single tonight against Arrieta. And it's quickly no balls, 2 strikes. And those 9 strikeouts 2 starts ago, that is also Arrieta's career high. Just got a piece to stay alive. Almost threw it to the screen, 1-2.
Well, I think he looked at Mike going out. That was a nice pitch on the outside corner that Mike fouled off. So he figured he'd change the eye level by coming up out over the plate and then open up that outside for him.
7 strikeouts with 2 more in this inning, and now he's set down 10 in a row. It's AT&T trivia question. All right, the Royals have 13 wins at home this year. How long did it take them last year to win 13 at home? I'm going to guess it was much later than May the 3rd.
Yeah, I would probably say somewhere in the middle of May.
Matt Wieters is 0 for 3. I'm going to say early June. Middle of June. Wow. My. They have as many home wins as Cleveland does. Cleveland has the best home record. They've had 3 fewer games at home, so they're 13-2, so a better winning percentage at home, but the Royals are right behind them at 13-5. For years, and I'm talking about the last 10, 15 years, Kauffman Stadium has had the dreaded label among visiting players as a comfortable place to play. And as we talked about the other night, people love coming to Kansas City, and so much to do in the city. It's a beautiful ballpark, whether it's full or it's empty, and even better now with all the improvements. But visiting players were never uncomfortable here.
Well, that's true.
At least during the games.
Well, you look at not getting your 13th win till the middle of June. That's almost half the season. I mean, somebody wasn't having much fun, I tell you that. So to be where they are now, and you look at, you talk to the guys every day, everybody's upbeat, everybody's excited to get the game going, and they're excited to be coming to the ballpark.
Felix P.A. is 0 for 2, and a 3-1 pitch is deflected by Kyle Davies to Alcides Escobar. I saw them practice that in spring training a few times, and that's why you work on that in spring training, right, Frank?
I don't think Bob McClure would allow his pitchers to take it.
Oh, he did get a piece of that.
To really get involved in anything like that. But that's just an easy play for Escobar up the middle.
From our angle, and of course we're behind home plate, that shot you just saw was behind the pitcher's mound. I saw the redirection of the ball off the mound. It took a decided kick to the left, but it was not off of Davies' foot. My apologies. That was just off the side of the mound. And now Mark Reynolds has his second hit tonight, and it's the 3rd time he's been on base. So Reynolds, who was 5 out of 52 before the game started, is 2 for 2 with a walk. And now Robert Andino. Let's see if they try a hit and run again. In his prior 2 plate appearances, Robert Andino has had Mark Reynolds run.
You know, Kyle's done a good job too of if he gets in trouble or gets men on base, has been with 2 outs. So he hasn't been getting that man on base, nobody out, where the Orioles can really mount a strong attack. So right now he's always 1 pitch away from being out of the inning.
Two years ago, Mark Reynolds had 24 stolen bases.
Well, he did take off his last time on base, and so he will run.
2 balls, 1 strike. Kyle is really pounding Andino inside. At least that appears to be the approach. And he hit Andino with a pitch back in the 2nd inning, and then continued to pitch him inside in the 4th, and got him on a foul out to first.
Well, he's been giving up on that pitch inside. He hasn't made a commitment to try to hit it. That was the first one that came inside for a strike.
Nate Adcock warming up behind Kyle Davies. Kyle in the mid-90s with his pitch count. A broken bat, and that leads Escobar to the bag. So that's 4 consecutive scoreless innings now for Davies. You guys have him at 95.
Sonic slam inning, and our contestant is Susan Hurley from Gardner, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Susan will win $100. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Susan will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Jeff Francoeur was a Sonic slammer last night with a game-tying home run in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Had a $600 winner last night.
And before that, the winner prior to that was what, $2,300?
$2,300, yes. You called it.
And I think it was Melky Cabrera. Watch this. Oh, shoot. Well, he got it past the infield grass, which will get you a quarter. Melky is 0 for 3. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre along with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, with our producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson. The producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis. Alex Gordon 0 for 2, 0 for 6 in the series. And he played a big role last night in the 10-inning victory with a leadoff walk and coming home on Jeff Francoeur's game-winning sacrifice fly. Royals just trying to figure out what to do with Jake Arrieta. He has retired 11 in a row. Royals have only 2 hits. One of them was a Jeff Francoeur home run. Arrieta has walked 2. He has struck out 7. So he is 2 shy of his career high.
Well, he's done a real good job of pitching both sides of the plate, and when he gets you to 2 strikes, he's got a real good strikeout pitch in that Slaughter.
Into center field, a base hit for Alex. So that's the Royals' first hit since the 2nd inning.
Well, this is a good piece of hitting. It's a 3-1 count. This ball is down. I mean, this is a real good pitcher's pitch that Alex hit right here, and he went down and drove it back through the middle. It's right at the bottom of the strike zone. And Alex was able to reach out and get the fat part of the bat on it and really did a good job missing Arrieta.
Well, here we go, and again, something to keep an eye on. He went a long stretch pitching out of the windup. Fouled away by Billy Butler. Billy is struck out, grounded out to short. And we'll see if moving back to the stretch, and he hasn't been in the stretch since the 2nd inning, will throw his rhythm off or negatively affect his command.
But most times when the stretcher, you see the pitcher get up a little bit when he hasn't been in the stretch for a long time. The windup, you can get down over the top, or you're consistently doing it, but you get in the stretch again. Now you got to make your stride, give your arm a chance to catch up, and get downhill.
On the ground up the middle, Andino smothers it. Roberts grabs it out of the air with a bare hand and a dazzling 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. Pepsi Max is proud to be the official drink of the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for these special edition Frank White Pepsi Max cans at your neighborhood Hy-Vee. Frank will be at Hy-Vee in Independence on Friday from 11:30 to 12:30. And Hy-Vee in Shawnee this Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon. So stop by. You'll get a free can of Pepsi Max and say hi to Frank. It was a bit of a rocky start for Kyle Davies in the first 2 innings, giving up 2 runs, 3 hits, a walk, a hit batter. But since then, in the last 4 innings, no runs on just 2 hits. And trying to pitch more than 6 innings for the first time this year. Twice he has gone exactly 6 innings. Keela, nice play. Kyle late coming off the mound, but Keela didn't need him. So that is a season high 6 1/3 innings for Kyle Davies. Brian Roberts is 1 for 4.
This ball got down to Keela so fast. It probably got to Keela before Davies even finished his follow through. And Keelan went up looking, but that's one that he can really take himself and take a little pressure off the pitcher. But he did a great job just watching this ball into his glove and then recovering and coming back to make this play on his own.
Now Nick Markakis, 1 out of 3 with an RBI. Drove in the Orioles' second run in the second inning. Orioles with a 2-0 lead until the bottom of the second when Jeff Francoeur homered to make it 2-1. And nobody has budged since.
Well, one thing Cal got working for him is that hard breaking ball, hard curve ball. He tightens it up and does a great job getting it down underneath the swing on Markakis.
He is not out of the inning yet, but I would think that Ned Yost and Bob McClure are satisfied with the way he has continued to compete based on what happened in his last start. First guy that he faces tonight, Brian Roberts, hits a double. 2 batters later, a run scored, then a walk, then a single, a hit batter in the next inning, a run scores. But that's all he's given up tonight. 4 1/3 scoreless since. Markakis hits it to right field and deep. Francoeur is back, and the wind may have helped that one. Either way, it's a home run for Markakis, his 3rd of the year, and Francoeur hit the fence hard, and it looked like he may have brought down some of the padding. So maybe he didn't quite hit the chain link part. He might have gone into one of the steel support rods, and that's exactly what he did.
I think a lot of times those outfielders forget how tall that fence is, and when they jump, they got to realize they got to be able to realize they have a chance. But Cal just left this breaking ball in the middle of the plate. Threw a better one at the time before. They got underneath the swing, and Markakis jumped all over that one. This is when you got to read. This is when you got to be able to read how far that ball's over the fence. So no way to tell from this angle, but coming down, he gets his glove hung on that iron rail.
That's the second hitter that Kyle has plunked tonight. So Derek Lee walks down to first base, and Ned Yost walks out of the Royals dugout. Nate Adcock was warming up last inning and was warming up when this inning began, and he will come on to face Luke Scott. So a Chevy call to the bullpen for the Royals. Orioles have a runner at first with 1 out. His home run here in the top of the 7th inning. Royals have one more game with Baltimore, a 3-game series with the A's over the weekend, then they will be on the road. Coming up, though, on Tuesday, May the 10th, the Royals will have a fan get-together and a viewing party in the Power and Light District when the Royals take on the Yankees on May the 10th. You can watch every Major League moment on the KC Live big screen. The party starts at 5 with the game beginning at 6 Kansas City time. Plus, there will be entertainment from Slugger and the K crew throughout the game. Now, Kyle Davies and Bob McClure talking things over. Kyle can only hope for a no decision. And if Nate Adcock can finish the inning off without any more damage, it would be a so-called quality start for Kyle Davies. Gave up runs in the first 2 innings, then 4 1/3 without allowing a run until the Nick Markakis home run. And then he hit Derek Lee. And now Adcock will face Luke Scott.
Well, Nate's last outing, he really had good stuff. The ball was really sinking, and the slider was really breaking down. Everything was down in the zone. He pitched very well.
The guys you worry about with a sinker ball pitcher are guys that have a slight uppercut, because they can get underneath the sinker. Level guys who have level swings or even hit down on the ball a little bit, that plays into the sinker ball pitcher's hands. But a guy like Luke Scott with an uppercut, he can be dangerous against a pitcher like this.
Well, especially if you start it in and have it run back out over the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike.
If you can start it in the middle and make it go away, then you have a little more success, because then he'll probably roll over and get you your ground ball. But if you start it on the inner half, then it slides to the middle, then that's when they really have a good time with a sinker baller.
Luke Scott with a 3-run home run for the Orioles last night, and he has 4 home runs in his last 7 games against the Royals. That sinker was too low, and it got a piece of Matt Trainer.
Well, you can see the depth of it. I mean, it really just he says he has 2 types of sinkers. One where he makes it run away. Then he's got one that I talk about all the time, is like this one here. It just turns over right in the middle of the plate, and hitters hit over the top. That's one of those tough sinkers where Matt Trainer should probably try to catch the ball with his glove up, but he tries to follow it down, and it probably sank a lot more than he thought it would.
Luke Scott last year with a career high 27 home runs, and one of those home runs resulted in a bizarre injury. Remember, he was running the bases after a home run, and he pulled his hamstring, and he went hobbling around the bases and had to go on the disabled list. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 of the strangest injuries last year occurred to the Orioles. Remember, last night we were talking about Brad Bergeson, who was the starter for the Orioles, and how he injured his shoulder during a commercial shoot during the offseason. And then during the season, Luke Scott pulling a hamstring while running the bases after a home run. Grounded through the hole. Derek Lee was running, so he will keep running. And there are runners at the corners with 1 out. Luke Scott has his 2nd hit tonight.
Now, Ryan, we take a look at this sinker that's coming into Luke Scott. I mean, this ball is almost on the ground, but he went down, like you said, he's got that uppercut swing, and he had found a nice hole between first and second to get him a ground ball base hit in the right field.
And now Adam Jones 1 for 3 with a 1st inning single. He has grounded into 3 double plays this year. And trying to avoid hitting into a 4th. Thought about laying one down, but missed the pitch.
Well, it's kind of hard to go in, and you know you got a sinker ball on the mound. It's kind of hard to go in and try to bunt the first pitch you see because you don't know the action on it.
No earned runs allowed in the last 6 games. That's 23 1/3 innings. The runner at third base belongs to Kyle Davies. There's a sinker that just disappeared on Jones, and there's the difference in the swing. There's a guy who swings more down on the ball, and he's going to have a tough time with that pitch.
And that's what I call a sinker. I mean, this ball here just starts just above the knees, and it just goes straight down.
Back with a slider, and it's fouled away. Fans, don't forget, the next time you want to catch a Royals game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Kansas City Royals. How about those seats? Those are the StubHub upgrade seats.
Do they have the massaging back to them? That would be kind of neat to watch a game like that.
Struck him out, and again it was a sinker. So Adam Jones had no answer for that pitch.
Well, the old saying for most hitting coaches will tell you, if a sinker baller starts the ball at just above the knees, take it because it's going to be a ball when it gets there. But it starts at mid-thigh, then you can swing. The chance is going to be right on the bat head. But Nate Adcock is showing us what a good sinker will do.
So first and third, 2 outs, and now Matt Wieters. Outside for ball 1. 2 flyouts and a strikeout for the Orioles catcher. On the ground to Aviles. So Adcock comes out of the bullpen, holds the Orioles at 1 run this inning. Missouri Division of Tourism, and you're looking at the St. Louis Art Museum with more than 30,000 pieces. The art museum houses work from nearly every culture and time. The museum offers a full range of featured exhibitions, a research library, 4 conservation labs, a varied annual schedule of special events, and community and school programs. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. Once again, Frank, that is a varied annual schedule of special events.
Means they got a lot of things going on.
I could have said that. And they've got a lot of things going on.
They just don't have them all in order yet.
Jake Arrieta, just like Kyle Davies, trying to go more than 6 innings for the first time this year. only given the Orioles about 5 1/3 innings per start. 6 innings tonight, 7 strikeouts. His career high is 9.
Well, the Royals are probably hoping that they can keep with their per game average of almost 8 runs a game on this homestand.
No balls, 2 strikes. Let's go back to the second inning.
Well, he's not going to get that same breaking ball this time he got on this home run. He drove this one just inside the foul pole down the left field line. But Arrieta stand away from that pitch in this at bat.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Just to add some numbers to your point, Frank. The Royals during this homestand before tonight were hitting .336 and we're scoring 7.8 runs per game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On the road trip they hit .244, so they really turned things back in the right direction in the first 4 games of this homestand.
Well, I know Kyle Davis is probably hoping for some resurgence in the offense.
Royals have 1 hit since Frank Coor's home run back in the second inning. Arrieta has retired 12 of the last 13. And Frank Coor hanging in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And now Arrieta moving up on 100 pitches. Jim Johnson is loosened up and ready to go out in the right field bullpen. Wilson Betemit will be next, and then Keila Kaihue. On the ground, Andino backhands, lost his balance for a moment, and throws out Jeff Francoeur. Boy, it looked like he had plenty of time if he wanted to get in front of the ball, but playing it off to the side almost cost him.
I agree. He got an error last night, making a play the same way. See right there, he had plenty of time to get in front of it, and this ball shouldn't take you all the way around. And so then he's got to really work hard to get this ball back to first base.
That error that you were talking about led to some discussion today, whether it was an error or a base hit. Shallow left, and PA comes up to get Wilson Betemit. So Betemit, with a 7-game hitting streak, is 0 for 3 tonight. Here are the final numbers tonight in the Sprint You Call It, and we thank you for sending in your text. 64% think we will have 1 to 5 no-hitters this year. 1 last night, the first of the season. Francisco Liriano of the Twins. There were 6 no-hitters / perfect games last year. At regular speed with that error in the 9th by Andino last night, I thought it was kind of a bad hop and a tough play off the bat of Alcides Escobar. But then looking at the replays, the ball was hit harder than the ground ball from Frank Coor in this inning, but the same result. I mean, it was pretty much hit right at him, but rather than play it square, he kind of turned towards his right and tried to backhand it and played it into a big hop.
Yeah, I'm like you. He pretty much created that hop for himself, and he made the play look a lot tougher than it was. And that's the ball you got to get your feet moving, get in front of the ball, and have your momentum coming towards first base. And he played it like if it was a one hopper that made him spin all the way around, which wasn't the proper way to fill that ground ball. But I just got one saying about, to me, this being professional baseball at the highest level, I always have that saying that just because the ball's hit hard doesn't mean it's not supposed to get caught.
I like to look at it sometimes from the other angle, in that if Andino made that play, would we have been jumping out of the booth in excitement about what a great play it was? No.
I don't think so. But even if we are, this is the major leagues. Those plays are supposed to be made, maybe not on a regular basis, but at times when the ball's hit hard left or right, you got to make the play.
That is 8 strikeouts for Arrieta. 8th inning. In the 7th inning, he was tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment.
Well, he came in running. He just kind of shut the Orioles down. His first and third here, he comes up with a huge strikeout. Little sinker going down under the bat of Adam Jones. He's done an outstanding job getting the Royals out of that inning.
And got Matt Wieters on a ground ball to second base, and the Orioles got just the 1 run in the 7th. Panera will take us around the American League. Shortly. Stand by. Don't go to the refrigerator yet. Felix P.A., Mark Reynolds, and Robert Andino here in the 8th inning. Aviles running along the rim of the outfield grass, and Felix P.A. is 0 for 4. Minnesota now has won 2 in a row. White Sox continue to struggle. Toronto beats Tampa Bay. Detroit beats the Yankees, so Yankees remain 2 games in front of Tampa Bay in the East. Rain in Boston with the Angels and the Red Sox. Cleveland has won 7 in a row. They're just getting started with Oakland. And Texas is at Seattle in the West. The Angels and the Rangers are tied for first place. In the Royals division, Cleveland has a 4.5 game lead over KC. 4.5 game lead is the largest in all of Major League Baseball. Mark Reynolds hoping that tonight is a step in the right direction. He was 5 for his previous 52 when the game started. That got him down to 168, but he has 2 hits tonight, a walk and a run scored. Off the end of the bat and into shallow left center field. Melky sprinting in, but comes up a little short. And Mark Reynolds has 3 hits.
When we take a look at it, Melky playing on the left field side. He comes straight in, but this ball dives quickly, and I think he played it the right way. He could have probably dove for that ball and tried to make a great play, but at this stage of the game, you got to keep the game where it's at. So just play safety first, keep the ball in front of you, keep the double play in order.
Robert Andino 0 for 2, clunked by a Kyle Davies pitch back in the 2nd inning. Lays down a bunt. Betemit picks it up. No play.
I'll tell you what, that was an easy bunt. I mean, that wasn't an easy ball to bunt. This ball was just boring in on Andino, and that might have been one where he might have been able to help Wilson Betemit just let it go and see what happens. But he gave a good deke. He raised that front foot up like he was going to hit. Then he brought the bat down. And look at his balls running in on him. He's almost trying to get out of the way and bunt at the same time. But he created a perfect bunt out of this. And the ball's going so fast that maybe it might be a ball that Wilson might have just put on the brakes, and let's see where the ball ends up.
I want to say he did that in the Minnesota series too, where, I mean, nothing bad is going to happen if he lets that thing continue to roll. The worst thing that's going to happen is that it hits third base or it rolls to third base. Reynolds isn't going to go any further than second, so you might as well, if there's no play, let it roll foul. It might hit a pebble or something along the grass line and kick left.
Well, if it goes off the grass, it's going to go foul anyway. The way the grass is so close to the line and it's up a little higher, so it would have rolled foul. But when you have no chance, you might as well let it roll.
Line caught by Escobar. Double play. So he just adds another play to the highlight reel.
For Boulevard Royals Live, we'll talk about Kyle Davies' night as he goes further than he has all year as far as innings pitched go. I have a feeling we may be talking a little bit of Alcides Escobar defense, and we'll answer your questions as well. You can text those in at 432-432, space keyword is live. Send us the question, your name, where you're from. We'll tackle a couple of those. Hear from Ned Yost and reaction. All that and more coming up, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. Here's a Chevy call to the bullpen for the Orioles. So Jake Arrieta is done. Jim Johnson comes on with Trainer, Escobar, and Aviles coming up. 11 games for Jim Johnson and 13 strikeouts in 13 1/3 innings. Matt Trainer has walked and grounded out to short. So the Royals with 1 run, 3 hits against Arrieta in a season high 7 innings for him. He struck out 8, which is 1 shy of his career high. That is just down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Up the middle, deflected perfectly to Andino. Now I know for sure that didn't hit the mound. Otherwise, that's a base hit into center field.
Well, you're right, Ryan.
So good luck on defense for the Orioles. And with that being said, here's our defensive play of the game, brought to you by the Home Depot.
Well, as a base runner, you got to let the ball go to the outfield before you take off, and it really helps to be 6'3". You can get up there and get some of those line drives. So Escobar got the Royals off the hook. The line drive double play.
Johnson, as he deflected that ball, he may have
Wants another glove.
Snapped a leather strap on the glove. Or maybe that ground ball went through the glove. So while they figure that out, we'll remind you that coming up on the next homestand, we're going to get a little preview of interleague play. First the Cleveland Indians, then the Texas Rangers, then the St. Louis Cardinals are here. Friday, May 20th through Sunday, May 22nd. Great tickets are still available. Friday, the 20th, is a fireworks Friday. And Sunday is a family fun day Sunday. 1-800-6-ROYALS or Royals.com to get your tickets. So big Jim Johnson back out to the mound. And when I say big, I mean big. 6'5", 230 pounds. So that helped him leap and deflect the Trainer ground ball up the middle. Good late movement and a strike to Alcides Escobar. He has walked and struck out. Oh, 0-2. Jim Johnson out of the Orioles organization, a 5th round pick. Their starter Jake Arrieta was a 5th round pick. Signed out of high school, otherwise he was going to Georgia Tech. No play on this ground ball up the middle, and Escobar has his first hit of the night.
You know, Alcides, he's more of a free swinger. I mean, he swings at a lot of pitches out of the strike zone, but I think that's going to help him later on because he's really just starting to play this game, and I think his offense is only going to get better as he goes.
Now Mike Aviles, a first inning single, and then he struck out twice against Arrieta. A strike over the outside. Mike has 2 career at-bats against Johnson, and he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. I mentioned that Johnson was going to go to Georgia Tech because this game was close to being a Georgia Tech reunion. Kyle Davies was going to go to Georgia Tech before he signed with the Braves. Matt Wieters, Johnson's catcher, did go to Georgia Tech, and Royals reliever Blake Wood went to Georgia Tech and was a teammate of Wieters. Blake Wood and Kyle Davies both grew up in the Atlanta area. Jim Johnson, born in Johnson City, New York. What are the chances?
Doesn't sound like New York.
Joakim Soria getting ready if the Royals are able to tie the game or take the lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Royals have won 4 in a row. The last time they won 5 in a row was at the end of the 2009 season. The Royals have won their last 5 here at Kauffman Stadium. Left center field. That will get down, and it will roll deep. How far can Aviles go? He stumbled going around second base, and now the outfield is going to claim that it's wedged under the wall. Aviles keeps running. Will they allow him to score? Second base umpire and crew chief Tim Welke is going to go out there and see how badly that ball is wedged in the padding.
That's one of those things where the outfielder has to give up on it right away. If he goes in there and try to reach and grab it, then it's a live play. But if he deems that it's lodged, then they'll call him back to second base.
Boy, that is a heads-up play. And Doug Sisson is talking it over with first base umpire Andy Fletcher. Ned Yost is going to argue. And if this stands, Frank, that is a heads-up play by center fielder Adam Jones, because as soon as they declared it a 2-base hit, we saw how easy it was for him to pull it out of the padding. But he realized that if he goes for that ball and the play continues, 1 run scores, and Mike Aviles might go all the way to third base.
Yeah, that's a triple right there. That's the first time I've seen that play here. That's the first time I've seen a ball lodge underneath the padding like that. Most times it'll bounce out and bounce around, but that one actually stuck underneath the padding. And like you say, Ryan, what a heads-up play by Adam Jones.
Aviles did stumble as he went around first base, so we're going to try and sync this up here and show you when the ball wedged in the wall and where Aviles was. So bear with us as we improvise and try and put this together. Now watch Aviles around first. He started to get a little long with his stride, so he lost his stride, and Adam Jones, he put his hands in the air. I think Aviles goes for third. A run scores, but because it's a rule book double, Alcides Escobar has to stop at third base, and Aviles is into second.
You know, not a lot of players would have thought about that. They would have just reached in there, grabbed the ball, and got it back. But I can say I've never seen a ball here stick underneath the padding like that.
Blocked by Wieters, and ball 1 on Melky Cabrera. Melky 0 for 3 tonight. And if you've been following the Royals this year, you know all about all the comebacks. 5 walk-off wins. Their 5th was last night. They have several wins where they have been down in the 8th inning. 5 times this year the Royals have trailed going into the 8th and have won the game. They have scored the most runs in the American League in the 7th inning or later. On the ground, that'll get 1 run in. So it is 3-2. So an RBI for Melky Cabrera. Still a bit of a letdown because of the previous play. And Aviles moves up to third base. And now with left-hand hitting Alex Gordon coming up, Buck Showalter will point to his bullpen and bring in lefty Michael Gonzalez. Heads-up plays on this homestand going back to Friday night. Gerard Dyson having the presence of mind to tag up on a pop-up to short, and now in this inning, Adam Jones not trying to dislodge the ball from the padding out in center field, would save the Orioles a run. And now Michael Gonzalez with Mike Aviles at third base, 2 down, and Alex Gordon. Now Gonzalez has a huge ERA. But last night got the Royals in order in the 7th, including striking out Alex Gordon.
Well, he's really been a strikeout pitcher in the last 2 games. 3 perfect innings, 5 strikeouts. So you find those lefties that get lefties out. They're invaluable late in the game.
Fly ball left field. Felix Pie is there. And that's the inning. Only takes 3 outs. Royals down by 1. Bottom of the 8th inning, but we're hoping for more, if not for Adam Jones and our Chevy play of the game.
Well, this is definitely a triple by Mike Aviles with 1 run across the board. But when the ball gets stuck underneath the padding, a heads-up play by Adam Jones, and Second base umpire Tim Welke goes out and rules the ball lodged underneath the padding, and everybody has to go. Mike goes to second. Escobar has to go back to third.
And how bad was it lodged? He only needed 2 fingers to pull it out of there. But man, what a heads-up play. So the Royals down by 1. Nick Markakis, Derek Lee, Luke Scott here in the 9th inning against Nate Adcock. He's been in there since 1 out in the 7th. Right now, the difference in the game is a Nick Markakis home run off of Kyle Davies back in the 7th inning. A 2-hit game for Markakis. He has driven in 2 of the 3 runs. He entered the game hitting .207 and just 12 hits in his last 70 at-bats. Got him on 3 pitches. Adcock strikes out his second.
Well, that pitch there had some late break to it. That almost hit him in the back leg. And look how far off the plate this ball is. Wow. That's when you know you're not seeing the ball as well as you normally do.
Derek Lee drove in a run in the 1st inning. Grounded out in the 3rd, walked in the 5th. Kyle Davies hit him in the 7th, and that was the last batter that Kyle faced. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs for Derek Lee in his first year as Orioles first baseman. Orioles got very little production last year from first base. They had 7 different players play that position, and altogether they hit 11 home runs and drove in 59 RBIs. They didn't get a home run from a first baseman until their 77th game last year. They signed Garrett Adkins to be their first baseman, who had some good years with Colorado, but he, while he was with the Orioles, hit 1 home run, drove in 9, and made $4.5 million. 3-2.
Well, I just can't believe that in that ballpark. I mean, that's a hitter's ballpark. I mean, to go that long with a first baseman without a home run, it's hard to believe. And here in this ballpark, I can believe it, but not there.
Right field. Got it in on his hands, and Francoeur brings it down, 2 away. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, the Royals will have Billy Butler, Jeff Francoeur, and Wilson Betemit. And a dangerous left-hand batter is coming up, Luke Scott. 2 hits tonight, a 3-run home run last night. And he's going to face Tim Collins with 2 down in the top of the 9th. Goes 2 1/3 innings. In relief of Kyle Davies, gives up 3 hits, no runs, couple of strikeouts, and he departs with nobody on base. And for the second straight night, Tim Collins is on to face a left-hand batter. And again, it is Luke Scott. And last night, Collins came on and struck him out.
Well, Tim Collins is Ryan is starting to use his curveball a little bit more, and I think that's a good sign when you're coming out of the bullpen. You got to be able to get that first pitch breaking ball over, and he was able to get that done last night. And then after working Luke Scott to a 3-2 count, was able to get him to do a check swing on another curveball for a strikeout.
Over through the fastball, ball 1 on Luke Scott.
That's one of those situations there where you say, last night I came in, I threw the first pitch breaking ball, and now I'm going to go with a fastball. But like you say, just overthrew that fastball.
2-0. And he not only missed the strike zone, he missed the target badly. That was supposed to be a fastball away. Luke Scott was ready to pull the trigger on 3-0, which for a guy with power, that's not a surprise, but maybe he wasn't ready because the first 3 pitches were all over the place.
Well, that's true. That's right down the middle of the plate, and the ball jumps on you a lot faster than you think.
And now Collins comes back to fill out the count.
So right here, do you risk going to your curveball right here and try to get him a chase, or since you've thrown him 5 fastballs, just might as well just stay right with it? It seems like you've got him beat with it, just like I thought he had him beat with it last night.
Didn't have a very good swing at that last fastball. Trainer wants a fastball, and it's hit in the air to left field. A very long run for Alex Gordon, and it will drop in the first row.
You know, the Royals outfield has got him around the pull, but with Collins' fastball and the way he's swinging, you might want to go more straight up and bring Alex a little more closer to the line.
And I think Alex did that. I don't know if that came from the bench, but he is closer to the line now than he was before that previous pitch.
Well, it's all about watching the way the hitter's swinging, and he's fouled the balls off to the left side twice, so you got to make that adjustment.
And he walked him.
So we'll take a look at this through Fox Tracks. He really tried to hit that outside corner, but this was well off the plate. Good height to it, but well off the plate.
You could see where if his mechanics were off just a little bit, he is already way over on the third base side of the rubber. He falls that way. So it almost looks like he doesn't even need to try and hit what would be the outside corner against a lefty. I mean, gravity and physics are going to point him in that direction no matter what he does.
Well, I think what happens a lot of times, Ryan, when you overthrow, your command is not quite where it is, where you want it to be.
On the ground to Escobar. The force at second base. That's 26 consecutive scoreless innings for the Royals bullpen. Royals are going to prepare themselves for another celebration, down by 1 to the ninth. long. Tim Collins with 1/3 scoreless, 26 consecutive scoreless innings for the Royals bullpen. Now the Royals focus on the Orioles bullpen. Kevin Gregg, 5 saves, 1 blown save. He'll come on in a 1-run game in the bottom of the 9th and face Billy Butler, Jeff Francoeur, and Wilson Betemit. Outside ball 1 to Billy. 0 for 3 tonight, grounded into a double play in the 6th inning. Kevin Gregg with a very unique pitching motion. Very little load, as they call it. Just kind of lifts his leg and almost just falls towards home plate. Way down and away, 3-0, and he immediately looks down at the mound. So didn't quite get the footing he was hoping for. 3-0.
Well, like you say, Ron, he never really closes back up. You know, he has an open stance, and he goes right out of an open stance. And he get maybe a little more shoulder turn to help him a little bit. But he just jerked this ball right into the left-handed batter's box.
3-1. Billy 1 out of 2 against Kevin Gregg before tonight. Billy had a single in the bottom of the 10th inning last night, setting up the game-winning run. Wow.
Sinker.
Oh, man.
The bottom fell out of that one.
Fouled away. Kevin Gregg last year had 37 saves for the Blue Jays. That was a career high. But in the previous 2 years, he lost the closer's job. He was the Cubs closer, lost that job in 09, and the year before lost the Marlins closer's job. Pounded to third, and Reynolds comes up to the grass to throw out Butler. So Gregg comes back from 3-0, and the ball 3 was all the way back to the screen. 1 away.
Well, you would have thought after watching those first 3 pitches that he had no chance of coming back and throwing 3 strikes in a row. But a lot of closers can keep you on the edge of the seat a lot of times.
Jeff Francoeur homered back in the 2nd inning, his 8th of the year, and his team leading 24th RBI. Of all the Royals on the active roster, Francoeur has the most career plate appearances against Kevin Gregg. He has 11. 2 out of 8, 3 walks. One of the hits was a home run.
Well, I have to think that's what's on his mind right now. Just get a pitch he can drive and just be aggressive.
2 balls, 1 strike. Pitch was breaking away from Francoeur. 2-2. Good late movement down and away. Kevin Gregg trying to save it for Jake Arrieta, who allowed 1 run, 3 hits in 7 innings. 3 balls, 2 strikes with Betemit next.
Well, it never helps to have to keep painting yourself in a corner where you have to make a pitch.
Just fighting it off to stay alive. And Francoeur asking home plate umpire Mike DeMuro, was that a strike?
Well, that's one of those things where if you can get a bat on it, you better try to foul it off. You don't want to put it in the hands of the umpire. You foul off a tough pitch like that and hope the next pitch is a better pitch to hit.
Just missed inside. So the tying run is on, and the potential winning run comes to the plate. Wilson Betemit, 7-game hitting streak, but tonight 0 for 3 with a strikeout. He has faced Kevin Gregg once, and he hit a double. Slider in for strike one. Gerard Dyson was not available last night, but he was running in the outfield for trainer Nick Kenny today. And Ned Yost said before the game that Dyson would be available if needed.
For those ankle sprains, going straight is easy, but if you have to make cuts and turns around the bases, that's why those blue cones are out there. Just run in between them and see how it feels to make those turns.
Because Jeff Francoeur knows about Kevin Gregg, he knows to be ready for a pitch in the dirt. Gregg is prone to throwing wild pitches. Just missed down and away. He has one wild pitch this year. 1 year in A-ball, he had 28 wild pitches. And one season when he was pitching for the Angels, he tied a major league record with 4 wild pitches in 1 inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So he's had his share of success with all that movement, but he's also paid the price with all that movement.
Always say pitchers with movement should throw to the center of the plate and let the ball move. When they try to pitch to the corners, that's when they get themselves in trouble.
Driven to left field. PA has room, and he makes the catch. Francoeur tags. Going to try to get up to second base. He is around the tag with a great slide.
Well, that's a heads-up play by Francoeur. You see him go back to first right away, and he's got to really get in there. This is going to be take a tricky slide. And Roberts tried to dive in and make the tag, but he was able to get around and get his hands on the corner of the bag and hold on.
So the tying run at second base, and Kila Kaihue at the plate. He had a tough night against Arrieta, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, he just had a hard time laying off that breaking ball coming down underneath the swing.
Oh and 1. During this homestand, the most recent edition of the Royals Game Day magazine came out with Kila on the cover, and it talked about Kila and his clutch hits this year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, this would be a great time to have one.
During the first homestand, Kila had a walk-off home run. And then later in that homestand had a key double against a tough left-hand pitcher, Matt Thornton of the White Sox, late in the game that set up the game-winning run. In the air to right field. Markakis waits. He squeezes it, and the Orioles have evened the series at 1 game apiece. So another 1-run game. Royals make it interesting late as they leave Francoeur at second base. 3-2 Baltimore. We'll be right back.